Well, like I said, thank you so much for being here. Um, one of the things I wanted to highlight is our assigned volunteer. There's Susan Dobbs is joining us. Uh, Assigned volunteer genealogists and what that means and what that does. And Charlotte, I think this is the first time that you've joined us, is it?
Yeah, that's correct. I just thought I'd learn a little bit more about what this is.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Um, you know, the volunteer genealogists are kind of a committee to help registrars with overloads and also to help members with supplementals. When it comes to original applications, that's a whole different kind of ball of wax. And so often help for new members goes to the Lineage Research Committee.
Mm.
Now, the Lineage Research Committee and the Volunteer Genealogist Committee work very closely and hand in hand, but the Lineage Research Committee's got a network of boots on the ground, and that's because our new members deserve all that we can give them. Doesn't mean that they won't cross over, but that's kind of the difference. And the volunteer genealogist, one of the biggest things that we've got tasked to us is training. What are the standards? What are the expectations of national? And how do we get that information out? So a lot of our Zoom meetings actually they're all the regular meetings are discussion based, but a lot of times it's, let's go look at the GRS and how do we use build an app. And I'm using those because Susan Dobbs sent me an email as far as here's some ideas for some upcoming meetings. And that was one that really made sense. We'll be doing that probably next month as far as taking a deeper dive, looking at what is image access and how do I use it and that sort of stuff, but just in a conversational discussion based format. But today, there's two things that I want to talk about, and that is, again, I was starting to introduce the idea of the assigned volunteer genealogist. So, what an assigned volunteer genealogist is a member who enjoys genealogy, has taken enough of the general or the genealogical education program courses to qualify as a volunteer genealogist. And in South Carolina, that is GEP 1, 2, and 3. There are 8 courses available, but in order to be an assigned volunteer genealogist, you have to have at least those 3. So that's on our side. On the other side, we have registrars that are saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overworked, I'm under trained. I don't know how to spell registrar. You know what I mean? You got the whole gamut. And they are told, talk to Susan. That's the volunteer genealogist's job, is to find one of these members who is well trained or trained by taking those courses and can help you out. The other kind of not quirky, but quirky thing about it is that an assigned volunteer genealogist cannot be within the registrar's chapter. Okay. So I know that Susan Dobbs and Lorene have a very good working relationship. They are in the same chapter, and Susan is the registrar. And Susan, is Lorene considered your assistant? How do you guys do that? You're there you go.
Morning, sorry, I had to unmute.
That's fine.
No, she is the lineage chair,
Okay.
and as far as dividing responsibilities, she is the primary person for supplementals,
Okay.
and then she is also reviewing every single one of the files I put together.
Perfect to have
And
that
you
person.
review mine, right, Susan?
Pardon me?
And see, I can't get on this. I need to talk to you. But you review all my supplemental apps too.
Of course, I don't sign it unless I review it.
Great. That's really good to have that kind of
Yeah,
handshake within a chapter.
yeah, she's invaluable.
Sorry, there's noise. Um, so I've asked Donna Eisen to join us today because she is within the Caskey administration, the first assigned volunteer genealogist. Hang on just a second.
Wow, I didn't know I was the first.
Sorry about that, ladies. She is the first assigned volunteer genealogist within the Caskie administration. And what happened is when the administration opened, I sent out an email to all of the chapter registrars and I said, here's what we got available for you. Deb Sutherland wrote back pretty much right away and she's like, ooh, me, I'm overwhelmed. I need some help. And so I noticed that Donna lived nearby within the same community anyway. And I reached out to her and asked her if this is something that she would be interested in doing. You guys have been doing this now for what, about 9 months or 7 months? Somewhere.
Yeah, majority of the calendar year for sure.
So why don't you tell us what it is you get to do? And I know you and Deb have got an awesome working relationship, and I'm very proud of that.
We do have a great relationship. I mean, I have to say, in the beginning, I was a little bit nervous that it might take a lot of time. And I kept emailing Susan back and forth and saying, okay, what's the time commitment? What's a typical day look like and stuff? And she was like, Donna, it just varies. And I'm so glad that I took this leap because it's not taken up near as much time as I initially thought that it would. And I have learned so much from every single application that I've reviewed and looked at with Deb. I think, like Deb said, we have a great relationship and we sort of have a similar work ethic and we feel the same way about deadlines and we just communicate really well. It's like, she respects that you have a life outside of being a assigned volunteer field genealogist. And, she's like, hey, I need some help. Can you help within the next week? And I'm always like, yes, I can look at it this day and get it to you this day. Does this work? And so we've just sort of developed that. I have to say too, that when I look at all the stuff, I use this, maybe all of you guys use this reviewer checklist. Yeah, this is gold. So this helps me stay on track. Another nice thing about working as an assigned volunteer field genealogist is I get to watch how a registrar works. So I would imagine if in some point in the future, if I ever want the job as registrar, this really is like on the ground training because I get to see how she organizes the applications, how she shares them, just keeping track of everything and sort of her methodology. So I have lorraine learned something on every single application that I've looked at.
Hi, Lorraine. Sorry, Donna.
Oh.
Lorraine's picture just showed up, so I wanted to let her know that her camera's working. So please go ahead. I didn't mean to be rude.
No, I mean, that's just, that's really about it. It's like, Susan said, I was brought on to help with the overload and maybe to help with some brick walls. And it's been a great training experience for me and I just keep learning. So, yeah.
So we were just talking about Lorraine and Susan and how they, they have their own separate duties and tasks, and yet they work together. And though yours, Donna, and Deb's are not divided like Lorraine and Susan's, are you that person that Deb goes to for every application that she completes so that she can get a review?
I think so, because she keeps calling me like magician and magic and stuff like that. So I didn't mean to evolve into that, but it sort of happened that way.
Well, okay, so what have you done to get that?
I think I helped her with two applications that she was sort of feeling really overloaded with, and she just couldn't find connections between some generations, and I helped out with that. And then there were some that you can't find the information. You have literally scorched the earth, and so you've got to look for a different venue. So I found some additional patriots that we could go to for some prospective members and worked a different line and got there eventually.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to do some research too. I mean, definitely if you're doing stuff like that, then you're actually.
Yeah. And that's the fun part. So yeah. And I'm lucky that I'm in Charleston. So I'm near the family, the LDS library, family search library, and I can go on site. And I just figured out this year that it's literally 10 minutes from where I work. So in the evenings, I get off work at 4, so I can scoot over there for like 2 hours and get on their databases. And yeah, it's been great. And they're so helpful there. I don't know if you guys have ever been, but highly recommend it.
Not the one in Charleston, and Aiken doesn't have one. So
Are there other ones in the state, or is it just Charleston?
Yes, in Florence. Florence has one.
Florence does? Okay.
I think there's several. I would think that Charleston, just because of the size of the population, there's probably a really nice venue, or library setup.
Yeah, it's great. So if you ever go, definitely take a thumb drive that you can save your stuff on, and they'll let you print for free to your heart's desire.
May I ask, Donna, what is your position? Yeah.
My position, what do you mean, like what actual job I have outside of DAR?
No, in the DAR chapter.
Oh, okay. Right now I'm on the board. I'm the chapter librarian,
Okay, chapter there.
and I'm a librarian in real life too.
I don't know how
So,
How convenient.
yeah, books all day.
I love books.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have questions for Donna or about the program at all? We currently have 4 assigned volunteer genealogists. Our most recent one was assigned to a chapter just to do supplementals. So what was going on is they have a registrar who's been the registrar, one of those, you have to find a way to get anybody else to take it. And so she keeps serving as the registrar. And she's not this, and she'll admit it. I'm not that strong, but we're getting it done, you know. And so she pretty much just will do applications as they come to her, and she's doing maybe 1 or 2 a year. And so now she's also very involved in her chapter in that she's been working on historic grants and, things like that. That's more along, I think really more along what she wants to do than registrars. They just don't have anybody else that will step up to do it, and she can do it. So another member in the same, I try to keep the assigned volunteer genealogists in the same district as the registrar. It just so happens that Donna and Deb, well, you guys only live a few minutes away from one another, don't you,
Yeah,
Donna?
maybe 10 minutes.
So that makes it friendly and nice. There was a registrar that came to me and said, I need more work to do. I'd really like to play with more dead people. I know, Susan. And so I reached out to this other chapter and talked to their regent, and she's like, we've got a stockpile of supplemental applications that these members don't want to do the research, or else we'd have somebody that was ready to do the registrar job. And so I hooked them up, and everybody's smiling. The members are happy because somebody's finally looking at their supplemental applications. The assigned volunteer genealogist is happy because she's getting to play with more dead people. And the chapter registrar is like, "Phew, I can breathe a little bit and get working on these historic grants or historical grants, which is where her passion is." So, you know, it all works out. The one thing I'm hopeful for in this situation is that as these supplemental applications start getting worked on, that the members will start getting interested instead of just thinking they can say, "Oh, here's what I want you to do." They'll start wanting to do it themselves, seeing that it's possible instead of being frustrated, and possibly be able to bring up a registrar in that chapter. Clay has joined us, and I don't know why we don't. Clay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you want to tell? She is our the second out of the 4. There was Donna and then Clay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your situation and your assignment?
We're moving. I've got one that was completed, and I'm almost completed the second one now. Finally gotten the remainder of the information. I have got to finish filling out the application and get it reviewed, and I think we're good to go. We might have to get one more document out of New York.
Well, let me fill you in on Clay's situation, because there's the relationships are what's kind of fun to understand how these pieces fit together. And we have a small chapter whose registrar works full time and has got 2 boys, 12 years old, 11, something like that. So you can imagine she's got her hands full when we had children that were at that age, we were taking them to ball games and soccer practice and, this and that and the next thing. And she is a good researcher, but just so busy right now. So Clay has actually stepped into this chapter as their registrar. She is serving a different chapter by being the registrar. Now, she doesn't have the same of course, signature authority or anything like that, but she does all of the research, she processes the applications, and then she's in communication with the chapter regent to hand over a completed package. So, that's another different relationship that's going on. But it's not that much different than the number three one we've got, where they have a registrar whose husband is very, very ill, and she's just like tapping out, and they didn't have anybody else to step up. So, uh, again, we've got a assigned volunteer genealogist that has stepped into a chapter as that chapter's registrar, working closely with the regent directly. So these things happen. And not everybody's as lucky as Susan Dobbs and Lorene in that, they could, if something was to happen to Susan as the chapter registrar, I know I'm not saying you want it to happen, Lorene, but, instead of the chapter just being without, if there was a problem, Lorene would be able to help somebody, the chapter, or possibly in a crunch, be able to step in. I don't know. Um, I think I've got a lot of registrars here in this room. I know that Barbara is, and Amanda. How's that going for you, Amanda? Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
We're rolling along. We had a number of people who were interested in joining prior to July, so we had things already ready in motion that they were just kind of on hold because they really didn't want to join like late April or 1st of May, and so we got all those processed. We've had a bunch of transfers, and we've got a bunch of two or three daughters, daughters as in daughters of members or granddaughters of members. So
Awesome.
we've got a bunch. But the supplementals, my chapter's beginning to get really excited, especially when I told them about your little challenge.
Good.
That kind of was like, oh yeah, now I'm going to really push and get that done. But
Good.
so I do have a number of members. I do have one member who has, these were applications that went in 2 years ago, and she's got a second heir on a guy,
Mm.
and he was in Charleston. So I was wondering if maybe Donna might be able to help us a little bit with some information on that guy. We've searched ourselves, but I feel like boots on the ground might answer the final question that the genie has. But we have one of our members that had told me, I think that she was going to join your group, Jennifer Stoy. She was, I think she had mentioned that she wanted to join to work with your volunteer genealogist group.
Okay.
Okay, all right, maybe you hadn't heard.
Jennifer, who is it again?
Jennifer Stoy. Okay,
I'm not,
well,
if I've heard from her, it's just been to add her to the distribution list. And I
okay,
get,
all right. Well, she's currently working with that particular person, and hopefully they can find that last little bit of information that we need for the genie in Washington. But no, we're doing pretty good. We've just have our, I guess, our typical big batch of things to process in the early part of the fall, and we're rolling along with it.
the reason
A bit of time.
I'm picking on Amanda because she stepped in. I gotta share because I'm just blown away. But Amanda stepped in to fill some pretty big boots.
Hmm.
Colleen
Huge.
Knights was the registrar of the Nathaniel Green chapter, and Amanda is her replacement, at the end of their administration. And Colleen Knights has been here with us a couple of times. She's getting to be quite the family search guru. And she also did 31 applications last year. I
Yes,
know, Donna.
she did.
31?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
I
And so far, I've done 6, and I've got 5 more in the works. And like I said, there were about 10 of them that were in the works prior to July. So some of them were easy, as in, they really just needed their birth certificate and maybe next generation. But no,
That's
they
amazing.
were all pretty sort of pre-prepped. Some just had to be, filled in. Um, and
You know, I love seeing your smiling face because a lot of people would feel like, that's intimidating to follow up someone like that. But also, Amanda went to the GRI this year, the Genealogical Research Institute in Washington, D.C. And I thought that that was an awesome thing for her to step up and do as she was becoming the registrar. Good job.
well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Is that something they hold every year, Susan?
It is. They just set out the genealogical or the genealogy gems just came out. Now what that is, it's a newsletter that comes out. I think they're going to start doing it more often. It was coming out once a quarter, but with this new administration in the National Society, I think they're going to be doing it every other month from what this one read. If you want a copy, let me know and I can send it to you. Donna, you look like
Yes,
you're
please.
interested, are you?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me get my notes up here. Do you want a copy, Donna?
Please.
Okay.
You can access it on the website also.
That's, you know what? I was hoping I hadn't gone out there to look yet.
Yeah,
Um,
if you go in the DAR website under the members part and just type in the search engine, genealogy gems or no, it's Genie Clips, is it?
I think this one's the gems, the newsletter.
Yeah, Genie Gems. Or anyway, you just type that in the search engine and it will show you where it is.
I haven't even got all the way through it yet. It's only about 9 pages. But speaking of my connection to the GRI on that, um, Amanda, did you get a link to the Genealogy Gems newsletter? Did they email it to you, Amanda?
Quite possibly.
That's
It's
fine.
probably been sorted into that back pile. I'll deal later.
That's
We got to
fine.
get these done.
The
That's
reason
probably
I
what.
asked is that they've got a picture of Barbara um, in the Genealogy Gems, Barbara Jurors, while we were at the GRI as an advertisement for the GRI coming up. That was my whole point I was trying to say about
Okay.
that. And
I'll go look for it then
it's got the dates. I think it's May 2nd through the 6th.
for this coming year.
Right.
Yes, I did see that.
Okay. Well, Barbara's picture's on that banner. Oh, in the newsletter, it's on the banner of that. So wherever you saw that. Personally, and everybody's got their own person, you know, but personally for me, I've been to Continental Congress a couple of times and I've been to the GRI a couple of times. I probably won't go back to Continental Congress. I love the GRI. I really do. I mean, I think we had 180 ladies there last year, and you get a full run of the whole complex. I mean, it's amazing. The store's open, not like at Continental Congress, they bring the store to you. You know, there's vendors everywhere. Here, they actually have a store in the building and it's available for you, but they don't have it out there. They don't have it in the hallway. They got to go to the store. But the museum's open and all that. So, I mean, all of that fun stuff is available. And then they also have workshops and lectures. They've got breakout sessions in the morning, and then they call them the master series in the afternoon. Pam, you were at it 2 years ago, weren't you?
I know, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm going to Continental Congress this year because it's the
Right.
250th, but I'm like, I've got my fingers crossed that I'd like to do the GRI again too.
It, this year is going to be very heavily populated for the Congress because of the 250, which is great. But when you can't move because there's so many people, I get a little claustrophobic.
Plus, you learn so much at the GRI.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
there's so much knowledge put out there.
The other thing I really liked about it is getting to put names and faces together of what you read on the dock or the communication that you hear coming down. You're like, oh, like Pam and Amanda, um, do you realize Marcy, the lady that was pretty much the event coordinator for the
Mhm.
GRIs, is now our registrar general?
Yeah.
That made my heart happy when I saw
Yes.
that. I'm like, she's such a very classy, nice woman, and very intelligent. So,
Hmm.
when you get to know who that person is, it's like, oh, that's Marcy.
Hmm.
So, anyway, good job, Amanda. Okay,
Thank
before we start, did somebody say something? Okay. Before we go to the next topic, is there anything else that you'd like to know about the assigned volunteer genealogist or I guess the GRI or anything we've talked about? Okay,
I have a question. So
absolutely.
what is the difference between the lineage chair and the volunteer genealogist?
The volunteer genealogist is kind of focus is very different, even though a lot of times the actions are very similar, Susan. I know when I took the job as the volunteer genealogist chair, uh, Barbara Jers and I have worked well together for years, and I kept asking her, "Oh, what's the difference between what you do and what I do?" It's a world of difference. I can talk to you about the level at the state, on the state level, Susan, and then you do in your chapter what you want to do. Um, the volunteer genealogist is a more of a support role for the registrars. Focus is on helping chapter registrars, and part of that focus is educating all members on nationals standards and, like right now, this morning, I was asked by a member, she's like, I've got a first contact letter that's timing out and I need some help. They want me to rewrite the citations. Does this ring bells? I mean, we all kind of face that one way or another. And so she said, I don't have any copies of the documents that I sent. I was like, okay, send me your application and I will rewrite the citations. Now, I knew when I said that meant I was going to have to go and find, you know, yeah, I was re-research it all, but at least I knew that the documents were there and, so that's one of those things that a volunteer genealogist does, Susan, is they help in a support role. That's the same thing as these assigned volunteer genealogists. Part of it is, you know, the Zoom calls that we usually have are typically put together as a form of education. And then also we support the genealogy education program. Now, lineage research, so that's volunteer genealogists. Lineage research is more focused on new member applications. Now you could say, but wait a minute, a registrar does that. Yes, so that's where it kind of crosses over. Look how much support you get, Susan. So, the lineage research committee at the state level is put together for problemed applications. They have got a strong network of boots on the ground. So, that they get into that specialty research and all that. They are more of the deep researchers. Volunteer genealogists are more of the educators. So, researcher and teacher. Does that help?
It does. Lori really does both. So I'm very appreciative. And we only live, what, a half mile apart?
Oh, wow.
That's
So
nice.
That's nice.
we'll walk sometimes, both of us, and meet to exchange information.
I love that. I kind of wish my treasurer lived a little closer because I am the chapter registrar for the Trenton chapter. And I kind of wish she lived a little closer so we could exchange checks and stuff like that, it's not well, and then my regent lives about the same distance on the other side of town. You don't think of Aiken as that rural of a community until you start finding out where people live.
Susan, my treasurer, I'm in Kingstree and
Right.
my treasurer is in Columbia.
Thank you.
We have to mail checks back and forth, but she wants to retire. And my daughter, who has just joined back, rejoined, lives on my farm, is going to take over the treasury. Oh, thank you, Lord. So I could just run back to her house and say, here's so and so's new application check. write me a check to Nashville and send it.
I remember you telling me, Barbara, what you were going
2
through.
weeks sometimes to get a check in the mail to
Oh,
Columbia and back, and then get the application in the mail for new members.
well, no,
2 weeks. That is a lot of time when you're waiting
the
on
goal is always even as distant.
verified quickly.
My goal is always get those signatures, get that check, trade checks, get it to the post office all in the same breath.
Yeah.
I mean,
This has been awful since I took over the registrar again. It's just
look
been,
how good you're doing.
yes. We had our September meeting this past week. That's why I wasn't on Tuesday. We had it on Wednesday. We normally have 10 to 13 ladies at the luncheon in September. We had over 26 or 26.
That's awesome.
I was so overwhelmed with my respect.
Like, what's happened to my chapter, huh?
Yeah, I had new members that we had to induct and perspectives at the meeting.
That's great.
Very productive.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, we're excited. You gave me a challenge.
You
And
took it.
Yeah.
The Margaret Greg Gordon chapter in Kingstree. I had my eyes on them for a while because they're just this kind of small,
Down. Yeah.
toddle along, chapter. And I came to Barbara and I'm like, can we do a workshop? Let us come to you and we talked about it for months. And we've even had part of our volunteer genealogist Zoom meetings have been talking about what is a workshop and, how can it help? I got an email from Barbara within the last months. Don't need you no more. We've
How
got
many
how many
perspectives?
applications are you working on in the last?
Oh, I have 4 at National, and about 5 or 6 more.
You've had some new members recently verified
I hope we have 37 members.
because you were at 23, weren't you?
Yes. We might get an award.
That is
Again,
great. I am proud of you.
our members, yeah. And then I've got supplementals in the background.
So do you need an assigned volunteer genealogist, Barbara?
Well, I have a lady in our chapter who's very good in helping me, Elaine Tanner. And she is kind of my lineage research within the chapter. Yeah.
Well, I encourage you just to thought and talk to Margaret, of course, about it, but like Susan and Lorene have, as far as Lorene has a committee of one, but she is I don't know, I'm assuming, Lorene, that you're a
Yeah.
committee of one. She has her own position, and that is the Lineage Research Committee chair. And it looks good for your chapter, is why I'm saying that, Barbara.
That's
will be asked.
Putting Elaine in as the
Right.
Lineage Research Committee chair. Yeah. Because she's been doing it. She's been doing it all this summer with me, helping me with these new members and helping
and like I said,
papers and everything and guiding them to what documents we need and all.
Yeah.
So
it looks good for the chapter. It really does.
We've got a heck of a team going. I'm very, very proud of our chapter.
That's good. Makes it easier to sell it too.
Oh yeah. Everybody. The feedback from the meeting, the luncheon, from the new perspectives was just wonderful. They felt so welcomed. So that made my heart happy.
Yes. I like it when my heart gets happy too.
When they get excited, they're excited about joining us.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is that back in, was it June, July, we did our technical tips and tricks mini workshop, and it was very successful. Speaking of ways to get information out to the members, that particular mini workshop was based on a lot of technology. We did 3 speakers did their own take on document manipulation to get them ready to be submitted using a variety of tools. We had Colleen Knight using Mac tools, and then we had Clay, who's got one way of doing manipulation and preparedness, and then we had Jennifer Dorn, who has a different way of doing it. But they were both, that way people could pick and choose what tools they wanted to use that are, I don't think any one of them used anything that had to be purchased. These are just tools that they had on their computers. Um, and then we had Laura Lubinsky talk about, and I got excited about it, works, talk to text. I'll tell you what, it was, I've been using that, where just within Word, I'll look at an obituary and I'll read it and it translates it into text. And so that was kind of cool. I'd like to do another mini workshop. It was fun. I enjoyed it because I could just sit in the background and um, have people come in, tell people when we were needing to be done instead of being the one that had to carry the workshop that we had 4 different speakers. And I'm looking for doing that again. On our meeting on Tuesday, we already talked about that Susan Dobbs has offered to do a presentation on newspapers, using newspapers in genealogy. And then Juliana Crawford is one of our juniors, and she's going to do a basic artificial intelligence, how to use that. At a like chat GPT level. Now, she said she does use it. She's not an expert, but she is, I reminded her, she is a younger generation. And so, this sort of thing comes easier for them. And she said that she has not used it for genealogy, but she could probably put together some examples of that to share with us. So we've got those 2. I am looking for other ideas and other speakers.
I'd be interested in listening to an AI, artificial intelligence, because I don't know nothing about birth and no intelligence.
I think that will be, I like where this is going because it's not all just techie stuff, by having Susan come in and talk about using newspapers. I think that is something that a lot of people could learn something from.
Susan?
Yeah, yeah.
I think having just 2 is fine because then it gives us a chance to sort of process it all and have questions and everything. I don't think do you need to have 4? I think like 2 speakers in one day is good.
One time and 2 the
Yeah.
other.
Now, wait a minute. I saw Barbara and Susan both doing hand signals. So
I was just
anybody
saying
want-
2 or 3 because it was a system overload last time and it was kind of like I didn't know where to go next. And I need to go back and rewatch those because it happens so fast. Do you have a proposed date yet?
No,
for
we're
the
going to
next
talk about
workshop?
that next. I was trying to get some more topics and speakers,
Okay.
but I've got notes on you and Juliana's not availability dates and what days are good and that sort of stuff. But okay, Barbara, what were your hand signals about?
Do 2 mini workshops with 2 speakers per workshop, and we can follow along a little better and not have overload of 4 at one time.
Okay.
I think that's what somebody else suggested too.
Yeah.
Susan or something.
Yeah, I agree because then,
Oh, yeah.
if you want to go back later in the week and review what that speaker said, then you just have 2 to follow up on, and not 4 where, it is
Yeah.
overwhelming. If it's all new.
If we did that, we could almost do it just during a regular scheduled volunteer genealogist Zoom call instead of having a separate mini workshop then,
Okay.
which is another idea.
Yeah, just have 1. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, when we did the mini workshop with the 4 different speakers, we still did our 2 meetings a month that we currently have right now, and we put in a 3rd session for that workshop.
A
So
lot.
So what I'm saying is if we did, just the 2 of them, we could just have one at one time and one at the other and still have our discussion based instead of
Yeah.
having it at the same time.
sounds like a workable plan if you can do it, Susan.
We could do it.
You can do it.
Okay. Are there any other topics? Susan did send me a list of some topics that some of them, well, The ones that she was talking about is like how to use DNA. That would take more than
Yeah.
20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, you could almost get some outside speakers to come in and talk, you know?
I want to showcase some of the wonderful women we have within the state first before
Oh,
we, because there are some really, now, the Volunteer Genealogists Committee for South Carolina has a YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel is where I put all of our meetings.
Mhm.
And then I also, I'm getting some looks on faces like, what? Um, so I'll take you over and show you. Also out there, I've got links to, let me share my screen here, to other videos. There's some I should probably add to it. Here. Here's my second screen, which is hilarious since I'm outside. You guys, you saw
Please
what kind of-
take us through the step-by-step how to access it.
Okay, so here we are. YouTube. There's a couple of ways to access it. Let's see if this will go. South Carolina. If I can type volunteer genealogist YouTube. There it is. SCDAR volunteer genealogist. So there's a variety of ways that you could probably get to it, depending on terms that you want to use. As you can see, I didn't type in SCDAR. It was just South Carolina Volunteer Genealogist YouTube, and it was the first thing that came up. So I'm going to go to it. I wonder if they've got me. Let me log out. Sign out. Because I'm in it as the volunteer genealogist. Oh, I did not want to go this route.
Yes. You don't want to go that way.
These darn passwords are enough to drive everybody crazy. Okay.
And once I find it, I bookmark it on YouTube
Well,
under my specials.
I didn't mean to completely sign out here. Let me try my default one. No. Bear with me just a second. Well, it shouldn't matter. Okay. Yeah, I'm techie. Okay, let me try it again. We'll just do it in here. So this is what I searched on last time, South Carolina Volunteer Genealogist YouTube. And I want to, okay, this is good enough for what I'm trying to show you. So here is the YouTube channel. When you get to it, you'll see home and videos. Here's all the videos from every meeting that we've had,
Oh, really?
except for maybe the last couple, because it takes me a little while to load them up there. And I try to give an idea of what the meetings were about, like family search, full text search, NDAR citations. Then there's technical tips and tricks, document manipulation, and readiness. This was the technical tips and tricks, talk to text, chat, just a little bit about Chat GPT. And then here was the other one for Mac users. And then the other one, like I said, there was Clay, and then there was Jennifer. Here's
A whole library of wonderful
There's a
videos.
lot of good stuff out here. Those of us that went to the GRI sat back and talked. We had it during a regular meeting, so there were other people in the room, but we talked about what we got out of the GRI. So if you are interested in going to the GRI, this is a whole verification workshop that was recorded. There's Donna in Somerville. And one of the ladies asked if she could use her phone to record it, and it turned out to be a really good meeting. So, all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so this is what this committee has done. And you guys realize that we've been doing this for over a year now. So all of those have been recorded and put up. Okay, so then you get to posts. So these posts are videos that I have enjoyed and thought that they would be
Oh,
of interest to other committee members. Um, Here's one on full text search that's done by the um, Family Search themselves. A little bit of background of it, what they're doing with it. Krista Cohen, the barefoot genealogist, is a very well-known public speaker. And so here's some tips and tricks on how to use Ancestry like a pro. This one was really good on how to join the DAR. This was one of the genealogy gems, Lisa Louise Cook, and she interviewed Barbara Jers. And this is a whole video of Barbara Jers talking about how to join the DAR. And just a lot of really, I like some of these down here are easy. Finding old newspapers, probate research, land records. Amy Cross is a very easy to listen to speaker. And she's got some videos here that are basic pre-1850. So what to do when you're back before 1850. So that's what I've got out there now. Now, if you guys find one and you like it, you want to send me the link, I can post it up there and we can share it that way. I would love to have that kind of help. A lot of times when I um, listen to YouTubes, I'm out taking a walk and I don't always remember to, get it posted. Like right now, I've been listening to Steve Little, and he is one of the inventors of AI, but he's also part of the National Geneal. He's a really professional genealogist. And so um, he spoke at the GRI last year when we went. And he's out there, Amanda, all over the place speaking about genealogy and AI. And it was really cool to see him in person, but then realize that, he's still out there. Roots Tech is a really big conference. It's technology and family search. And I've been to it several times, and he was speaking at that one recently, and that's what I've been watching is a lot of those. So I should put those up there. Have you been to Roots Tech, Susan? You were shaking your head.
Yes, virtually. I've gone to it for the last probably 5 years at least. It's
It's glad
free.
Well, what I like is they've got a lot of these speakers like Steve Little that, they've just got them on YouTube to where you can watch them one at a time instead of days of commitment.
Yeah,
So,
they give you up to a month or two, a couple of months afterwards, maybe
right.
even more than that. I also go to the NGS, the National Genealogical Society, every May also. Last year's was in Louisville, Kentucky, which is where the SAR is based.
Oh,
And they even offered a side tour over there as a result. And I also met the new national registrar. I met her there. We talked for over an hour while
nice.
the others were in a session. She's great. And but the NGS this coming year in May, and Lorraine and I are talking about going to the genealogy conference in GR, whatever it is, in Washington. We're talking about going
Yeah.
to that, and but it's going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And if you haven't heard about Allen County Public Library, ACPL, I have been to Salt Lake City's library several times. I have been to Allen County Public Library several times. I found more at Allen County Public Library. They are the second largest repository in the country, and their staff is great. Their resources, the books, you have these little carts that you can take and you can pull all these books off the shelf. Every county in the United States has books. I mean, several books, and you can always find things there. And it's so easy to use, and it's amazing. I love to go there.
What I think I found more things at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City in general, but I did have an ancestor that I wanted to go to the Allen County Public Library. I thought, okay, I've got an ancestor that crossed over between Chicago and Fort Wayne quite often. And the obscure records that they had there at the Allen County Public Library that related, I always wondered, and now I know a lot more of the story of what was going on, and that was pretty cool. And it is a very nice place.
Yeah,
They
they
also
have the
have like,
microfilms there too. And I get one of those copy cards. And so I'm just continually, copying things there. But I even had a brick wall that for over 10 years. And it was one of my direct links, great grandparents that I worked on and worked on and worked on. And so they also, for $25, you can send them the information and they will research it. And it took a few months. And I got a response, and they helped me that, and I happened to have a DNA match that came up, and I had sent out because she had the same surname, and I sent out something to her, and they both came back within 2 weeks of each other with the same information, and it was just so obscure.
oh,
It was so difficult, and it was great.
I think now, are you talking about the Percy? Is that what you're talking about as far as looking
No,
at
well, I
research?
used Percy too, and Percy are magazines that are the research magazines that you can request certain articles on,
Right.
and Fort Wayne does that. They also have a big unit of the Internet Archive is in their basement, so they're continually researching on that too, and adding things all the time. So, but just the books that they have there, I don't even look at the microfilms there. I just go directly to the county books, and they're just amazing. But they also have an international section, and they have books written in German, for example. And they had the, just like Salt Lake, they had the shelves that push a button and they open and close, and it's just phenomenal. I could live there and be busy every day.
Have you been to the DAR library?
I have. That's pretty special. But that was our pre-conference when the NGS was at, well, actually it was FGS then, Federation of Genealogical Society was in Washington. We were allowed to go there for like 2 hours,
Oh,
maybe 3 hours. So it was just like we had our track shoes on, ready to go there. But I want to go back and spend more time there as well. But Allen County Public Library, and that you can drive down in the basement and park, and
I
it's a
gotta,
small town. It's easy to get around. You can fly directly into it. It's not a big city, so it's very easy to maneuver.
it's nice to talk about, like you brought up, Donna, some of these places like the Charleston Family History Library, or, church or whatever. I don't, is it a library, Donna, or is it in Charleston?
It is a library, but it's attached to a church.
Okay.
And they have an enormous parking lot that is almost always empty. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
good.
Yeah.
Free parking. But yeah, so you park around the backside of the church and you press a button and it rings and somebody lets you in, you sign in and they set you up. And I mean, the people that volunteer there are very knowledgeable. Almost all of them are, good researchers, and they will sit down with you and help you if you're stuck.
Another resource in the state is South Carolina Genealogical Society. I'm a member of the Charleston chapter. I have no relatives or ancestors in the Charleston area, but I joined it because it was the closest one. Membership's only $25 a year, but September through May, they have monthly speakers, and everything they do it's always Zoom.
Okay.
You can go in person or you can do Zoom, and they have great speakers. And the Charleston Family Search Library, they now call it Family History Center, I believe. Every year, and it's either September or October, and I can go get my calendar, has a free workshop from like 9 to 3, and they feed you a free lunch.
They
And they
do.
have a lot of these speakers there.
In fact, I've got the info on that. Hang on, I'll
Oh,
go
do
get.
you? Thanks. But it's very, very helpful. But the people who are in the Genealogical Society are most of the volunteers at the Family Search Library in Charleston. And here in Bluffton, we have to go to either Savannah or we have to go to Charleston. But we also have the Heritage Library on Hilton Head Island, which is an affiliate of the
Oh,
Salt Lake Library. So you can actually open up documents there. What do you have so far on that?
So they gave me this piece of paper when I was there recently. So
Oh, I don't have that yet.
it's the 28th annual genealogy workshop. So it's Saturday, October 18th from 9 to 3. And they've got 3 people speaking, and the subjects are African American and Indigenous patriots of the Revolutionary War in North Carolina. So very specific. It is free and lunch is provided, and they've got a registration link.
What are the other topics, Donna?
That's the only topic listed, but
Oh,
maybe
okay.
3 people are speaking to it.
Okay.
Well, typically they have at least 3 sessions going on at the same time. So you pick and choose which topics you want to listen to.
Oh, and you know
We
what,
have, I
guys?
think, up to four a day.
I did not even turn this over, but on the back side, it's literally split out into sessions. So there's 3 sessions. They look to be a little less than an hour. So they're 50 minutes, 3 50-minute sessions. You break for lunch for 40 minutes, and then there's 2 sessions in the afternoon. And oh my gosh, it's all kinds of cool stuff. Do you want me to send this to you, Susan, or?
Thank you.
Please.
Photocopy. Yeah.
Yeah, they usually send it out to me because I'm on their distribution list, because they also used to have a free monthly speaker through Zoom, and they haven't been doing that anymore.
Oh yeah, no, it looks great.
Oh, it's wonderful. I highly recommend it. And I usually get a carload of people to go from our area, and we go when we just have, the day they give you a free lunch. Now we did get, but it was good. The only thing is, the last time we were there, they did give a 5-minute, the minister came and gave a 5-minute testimonial to their church, but, encouraging us. But other than that, they don't bother you.
Okay, well, I'm glad
And
I
they have
flipped it over because
some
I'm like,
presenters
that
there.
looks awesome.
It's great. I highly recommend it. It is worth the drive.
Okay. And thanks for what you just said about the Allen County Public Library. I had heard of it, but not in as much depth as you went into about that. My grandfather was born in Fort Wayne.
Oh, wow.
Both
Yeah.
my parents are from Indiana, Northeast Indiana. So I have within an hour from there. So I go there almost every year.
I'm definitely going to go check it out. And I would like to have some more info, Susan, like about some of the different workshops and stuff going around that are available. I don't know if that's one place you can look, or it's just as you hear about it, some of these conferences or whatever.
Do we
That
have
would be good.
do we have a like a text group or something that maybe we can, like, if you can put that out, both sides of the flyer, if you could send that out, Donna?
Sure.
And then I'll be happy to share information with the South Carolina Genealogical Society, because I mean, these are people who are really interested, in the and the topics are good. They're very helpful.
I like that. I mean, because I know Rock Hill also has an annual, and they feed you.
Pretty much. Woo.
So I think that's a great idea. Would anybody want to take that on as far as putting together a list of any of this stuff? I would love to help. I don't know if I can keep up with it.
I think just having the platform there, it can be reply to all in our group, and just we send something out and send the attachments. Keep it easy.
Okay. You talking about just an email?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I
And
can
then
do
if you want
that.
to,
I
if you
would
want to
love,
post
Donna.
it,
I've thought about it several times, Donna, as far as, going and fishing out to see what kind of workshops were nearby. And I just don't, like I said, if somebody would want to take that on, I just don't have the time to add that on. I
well, the
am
South
looking
Carolina
at,
the Charleston Genealogical Society, for example, they have them throughout the state, and you're automatically a member of the South Carolina Genealogical Society. And every summer, they also have a conference, and it's 2 full days. I've seen Lisa Louise Cook there. I've seen other national speakers there. Brent Holcomb is always there, but they have like 4 breakout sessions per hour. And they also, the lunch there you have to pay for, because you really don't have time to go anywhere else. But it's great, and it's you get to meet with like-minded people.
yeah.
And it's just a real laid-back group, and they have a big raffle, and there's all kinds of stuff there.
And I am encouraged that I think it would be fun for us to get together as a group and go to some of these. That would be kind of fun. That would be a neat way to do it. I just don't. Why don't you go ahead and send me that, Donna, and I can send it out to everybody. And we can go from there. Let me make sure I guess I could always go back and look at the video before I put it up, but make sure I've got everybody's name that's here.
Because working in genealogy, it's like having a garden. You have to weed it, but you have to plant new flowers all the time, and you have to water it a lot. And its genealogy is changing, and there's new programs and new technology all the time. But if you keep at it and don't just try to do it all in 1 week, for the whole year and that be it, you have to continually work on it, to expand your knowledge and share it with others. And then they share information with you, and it's great. I've met some wonderful people through this community.
Well, like right here in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up. And thank you guys for your ideas as far as, maybe we don't do a mini workshop. We just bring in these topics into some of these regular Zoom meetings, so we've been able to accomplish a lot today. And Donna, thank you for coming and talking to us about, what it's like being an assigned volunteer
Oh,
genealogist.
my pleasure. I love it. I'm so glad I decided to do it.
I am glad you decided.
I'm just learning so much, and it's just been fun. It's enjoyable. So thank you, Susan.
Oh, thank you. So does anybody else have any other questions or thoughts, ideas they want to share?
I was wondering if in some of the meetings, like moving forward, if we ever have like a question that not a real involved, in-depth question about something we're working on an app, trying to make sure, okay, does this match up? Will this work? Is this acceptable? Can we bring that up to the group as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Lorena's done that as far as an hour or two before meetings, not right before, but she has sent me an email going, just like, I got this question, and I'm like, yes, we're going to talk about this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because
Oh, yeah.
I've had a couple of those, and I don't want to necessarily send you just piecemeal, but I would love to ask the greater group, hey,
Yeah.
Would you check this off? Is this good enough for the link?
That's what this was supposed to really all be about, Donna. And I thank you for asking that question. It's kind of a brainstorming, like, I've got this going on. Has anybody experienced this before?
Help.
Because we could share a screen or something and
Right.
begins, look at this document and that kind of stuff. So
That'd
Absolutely.
be good.
hmm
We'd all learn from that.
And that's what it's about. If you walk away from an interactive group like this without feeling like you've gotten something to take with you, then, you're not listening, because everybody can find something to walk away with is what,
Yeah. I feel like this is a big group of experts. So like-minded people. It's nice to be in
right.
this company. So
And you contribute a lot to that. So thank you for that. You're part of this group. And I like that you're here this morning, Donna. So, all right. Well, I know sometimes we go a lot longer, but unless you guys have anything else that we want to cover, I'm